Hi, I'm Don Stanek, your Agile coach. In this segment, we're going to take a deep dive into the market. Many times we're asked a simple question, and that is, hey, how's the market? And if you're an average realtor, you might say, hey, market's great, market's great, market's great. Well, is the market great for everybody? Are you a buyer? Are you a seller? Are you someplace in the middle? Are you an investor? Are you someone who's looking to pull equity out of your property? Are you looking, you're like, what is the market? The market's kind of specific to what your situation is. And so some realtors or sales professionals will say this, well, how's the market for you? Which is an annoying thing to say. So at the very core of this conundrum is the fact that we haven't really defined what the word market means. So let's just take a couple of steps back and talk about the market in terms of how this has been measured for decades and how we need to understand it as a real estate professional so that when we convey this information to a customer, that it's going to be tailored to their situation, but you're not going to have to be so ambiguous about it. So let's define the market as it's been defined for decades. I want you to be able to understand this and explain it to your customer for a bunch of reasons. But at the core, we have three basic markets. We got a buyer's market, a seller's market, and a balanced market. Your ability to explain this to your customer is going to help you articulate the fact that your customer, your client, is in competition with other people in the marketplace trying to achieve the same result. Sometimes there's an oversupply of homes, and sometimes there's an undersupply of homes, and sometimes the supply of homes is balanced with supply and demand. And so let's define a buyer market, a seller market, and a balanced market. In a buyer's market means there's a lot of extra houses on the market. And buyers can take the cream of the crop and they can negotiate. And they're in a powerful position because a lot of sellers are competing with each other to get your attention. Now, classically, that buyer market means that there's probably a supply of more than 6 or 8 months worth of homes in the market, which means if we didn't take another listing today at the current sales rate, it would take us 8 months, 9 months to get through all of the inventory. Okay, that's a buyer's market. A seller's market is when there's a limited amount of homes for sale. And if we didn't take any more listings today, then all the listings would disappear in less than 90 days. Less than 90 days. A balanced market is really right around 6 months. If we didn't take any more listings today, at the current sales rate, we would sustain this for about 6 months. Now, these numbers vary from region to region, place to place, but it's a pretty good national standard, and you can kind of tailor that based on where you are. Now, there are other considerations that have to do with supply and demand, but at the end of the day, it's about how many homes are going to be available and how many buyers are looking at homes. The reason it's so important that we start educating our seller around what the market is because our seller's property is going to compete with other properties in the market for the attraction of buyers. If you attract a lot of buyers, you're going to get more showings, you're going to potentially get more offers. Now, if your home, if we put the property on the market, listed in the MLS, and it's not in alignment with buyer expectations, I'm not going to have as many buyers take a look at the property, and hence, it could affect my price, it could affect my marketing time. It's not my fault. I'm just the messenger. So as a real estate professional, you need to understand clearly what type of market you're operating in and how's your customer's property align with market expectations, and how are you going to position that property in the marketplace to attract as many buyers as you can. Now, I'm not abdicating authority, but it's important for you to establish a very clear understanding with your seller that what you do is you're a market expert in identifying the market and positioning your property to sell at the highest possible valuation under these conditions. Under these conditions, you're not responsible for the conditions. You can't change gravity. There's just basic rules of supply and demand. Don't skim over this as a real estate professional. If you do, you're going to have a problem when it comes to the last part of our listing presentation, which is pricing the home correctly to attract as many buyers. You need to start planting these seeds and make sure you start using these terms. I want to make sure your home is in alignment with market expectations. I want to make sure that your home competes better than other homes in this neighborhood and in your price range. At this point, it's really helpful to start going in and start backfilling some of the additional definition around the term the market. So we know it's buyers and sellers, right? But there's some other criteria and some constraints that are put around buyers and sellers. There's a geographic location called the national market. And then there's a state market, and then there's a county market, and then there's maybe regions within the county where you live, and then there's a city, and then maybe there's some really interesting locations within that city, and then we boil it down to the north part of the city, and then we even go even further and say, well, you know, and not only the north part of the city, but this neighborhood, the place where your home is, oh, on here, your home here on this street. So we're working from a large macro understanding of the market, and we're paring it down into what's happening in your neighborhood. Because sometimes national trends do affect things that happen in my local marketplace, right? But defining it as a geography is really, really important. The next thing we want to talk about the market is the fact that it's a product. So in a good market, a bad market, which I don't really believe in good and bad markets, but in a market where homes are selling very rapidly, it might be because there is a specific location. Well, in that location, the homes are selling very quickly. And however, in this location B, within the same city, the homes are taking, 4 months, 5 months to sell, and these homes are selling immediately. Why? Because trends start becoming evident within city growth. When an area starts growing towards a direction, there's an anticipation that there's going to be more supply of housing because maybe home builders are more actively moving to that direction, toward the west or toward the east, toward the south. Your ability to understand this and articulate this to your seller is important because they might be in a neighborhood that's less desirable. Didn't say it was cheap, bad, dangerous. I said it was less desirable. And what the desirability is around the psychology of the market. Now we've got a geography of a market. We got buyers and sellers in that geography, but now we have a psychology. What are some of the natural biases around a specific location? Does this specific location have kind of a reputation as being in a great school district? It's an incredible school district, very favorable impression. Or maybe there's a lot of crime statistics on that specific location that really gives people cause for concern, and they don't really want to be in that area because of that reason. We know that crime's a lot going bad in that area. And so it's incumbent upon you as a real estate professional to have some evidence when you start talking about these macro markets and micro markets. In your listing presentation, I want you to bring documents. I want you to bring the crime statistics for the neighborhood where your listing is going to be. And maybe it's not, maybe it's an incredibly positive story. Maybe it's not such a positive story. But these are detailed facts that the buyer and or the buyer's agent is going to be in possession of, or they should be in possession of. If you're working with buyers and you're not doing this type of homework around the properties that you're showing, you are not offering a complete service to your buyers. But as the seller's agent, you can take these bits of information and you can maybe offset them. Maybe the crime statistics are a little sketchy around this listing that I'm trying to get. However, the school system itself is really decent, but there's actually a blue ribbon school within 6 blocks of the property. Now, I've taken some negatives and I've taken some really good favorable positives to try to offset this. So the market is a place where buyers and sellers are, but also there's a psychology around desirability within a certain geography. And lastly, it's a product, right? So in the market, you've got buyers and sellers in a region, they've got psychology, and ultimately it's a product. It's a product. I need to have so many bedrooms, I need to have so many bathrooms, and if I'm in this specific location, there's a lot of 4-bedroom houses, and you're going to show me a 2 or 3 bedroom property in this location, you better have a really good reason or story around why that's the case. Or you're taking a listing and it's a really great area, no doubt about it. It's close to the school because we already established that. However, it's not 4 bedrooms, and the odds are pretty good that someone who would possibly prefer this type of property maybe is going to be able to be attracted to the blue ribbon school. your ability to be able to measure this and convey it to your customer is absolutely essential. Because now it's not just, how's the market? Well, what aspects of the market are you most curious about? Like buyer sentiment across the entire country is a little slow because interest rates are high. However, there's a lot of sellers out there that are still selling their homes within 30 days or 60 days and really pulling a lot of equity out of their property. What part of the city are you in? Or when it comes to these scenarios, where do you fit? Where do you fit? So what am I doing? I'm trying to take this person and kind of probe them a little bit deeper on, one, I want to educate them to the market, and then I want to ask them, how are they fitting into this circumstance? And if I can do this with any degree of proficiency, I'm going to be able to be their agent. I'm going to help them in the sale of their home. The next thing I really want you to get a handle on as a listing agent is market timing. It's always the best time to list a house. Why? Because you're a listing agent. However, there are 4 basic seasons that happen in the real estate market, and in some parts of the country, of course, it's kind of corresponding with weather and so forth, but there are some trends around listing. I want you to make sure that you've got evidence about the trends of listing in your specific market, and the purpose and the reason and the features of each of these seasons, and how you as an agent can take advantage to best leverage that season to help your seller get high possible value through attraction for that season. So the first season we have is spring. You know what? Hey, we all list our homes in spring, and then they sell in the summer, and no one lists their house in the winter time. Well, that's fine, but what if you're a listing agent, you're trying to get a listing and it's November? You just pack it all in and wait until March, April before you make an attempt at a listing? Absolutely not. People need to sell their homes for all types of reasons, and their reasons are specific to them, and you have to be able to understand how you're going to leverage any season that you're in to be able to time that market to the highest advantage of your seller to get the highest possible price. So for example, if it's the springtime, use the basic springtime logic argument. Hey, you're right, there's a lot of people who list their homes in spring. I recommend that you kind of get a jump start and that you're first to market. Don't wait till March or May or April. Like, let's get your home on the market right now in February, right? Or January or February. Okay, well, that's a reasonable thing. Why? I want you to be first to market. I want you to be first to market. So the next item up for bids is summer. What if it's the middle of summer? Is that the best time to list your house? Gosh, I don't know. Didn't we miss the bandwagon because we didn't get the house on the market in the springtime? No. Far from it. Summer is a great time to list your property, and the reason is there's a lot of buyers. There's a heck of a lot more buyers out there at summertime trying to find properties because they want to get settled before the school year, and they really want to identify properties that are like yours. 4-bedroom, 5-bedroom, 3-bedroom, close to the school, whatever that feature is. So right now, summer, July, best time for you to list your home. All right, well, what if it's October and you're standing there and it's fall and kids are back in school and you're like, well, maybe we'll just wait. No, if your customer has to sell their home and they have to leverage that, they have to get their home sale up as high as the market will possibly allow, as a listing agent, you need to have some evidence. Say, you know what, you haven't missed the boat in springtime. It's not the best. Summer's not necessarily the best. Fall is an excellent time to list your property, and here's why. Because a lot of the properties that were maybe overpriced and didn't sell during the summer are kind of stale, and everyone's kind of knows about them, and they already know they're overpriced. But if we come to the market fresh and brand new in the fall, you're going to find that you're going to maybe attract a heck of a lot more buyers who have just been sitting on the sidelines because they feel like they missed all the great selection. What if it's the dead of winter? It's Christmas Day. It's Christmas Day, and you're looking for a listing. It's December, and you're looking for a listing. Is it a great time to list a house? Absolutely. How I'm going to leverage that discussion with my home seller, my homeowner, is really simple. Hey, I know you might think it's counterintuitive to list your home in December, but it's truly not, and here's why. There's no competition. All the other homes that sold during the summer that were priced in alignment sold. The other properties that didn't sell were overpriced and the listings expired, or they pulled them off the market and they're going to wait. I'm going to wait. But the truth is you can't wait because you need a house or you need to sell your home. Great. This is the best time to get the home on the market is in the winter, because competition for other people putting their home on the market is at the lowest point during the year when you're in that end of the fourth quarter. Now, springtime, summer, fall, and winter. Guess what? Go to your MLS and start pulling available homes or new listings. Start pulling the new listings for first quarter, second and third and fourth quarter, and take a look at them. See, there's probably going to be a little bit of an arc. Most of the production happens in the second and the third quarter, but this means you have to be able to position your marketing efforts to support whatever season you're in, and you need to prove it. In your listing presentation, you need to bring samples of what type of advertising you do to penetrate a fourth quarter listing. Yeah, we have special programs specifically designed to list and to promote your home in December, and here's what they look like. Here's why it's absolutely essential that as a listing agent you have samples of your work, you've got market data that's real, you have all these different tidbits of information. They don't have to be bound in this leather presentation folder. In fact, most people are really turned off by that stuff. What you want is raw empirical data that you can share with your seller. It's also going to demonstrate the fact that you're aware of the market, you're aware of the market conditions, which is what you're an expert in, is adjusting the offering for the market conditions, not changing the market, but you're demonstrating, I'm aware because I study it, I'm aware because I study it, here's some more evidence, here's what we do in that scenario, here's why it's the best reason for you to list it now. Again, I'm providing paperwork, I'm giving a list, I'm giving my marketing strategy for fourth quarter sale or for the springtime take advantage of being first to the market, whatever it is. You have to be able to illustrate the fact that you know what you're talking about, which means bring documents and evidence. The last component of the market that we need to cover is you, the real estate professional. I've learned over the years that it doesn't help when we start injecting our own thoughts and feelings and opinions into a situation. You always want to rely on data. Don't let your own personal and professional biases reduce your market share or reduce your effectiveness. Or worse yet, once you render an opinion, well, I think your home should sell for $575. I'm pretty sure that your home is going to be sell for $610, right? As soon as you say that this is my thought or my opinion or this is what I believe, it's like a faith instrument. I believe. And now you're going to die on that cross, right? Because you've got no place to go. You've rendered an opinion. And the issue with that is that's what an appraiser's job is, not a listing agent. So here's how you might want to consider rephrasing how you arrive at price. We're going to talk about this in detail at the very last part of this listing presentation. But I'm trying to convey to you, please don't personalize anything. Everything is about market alignment and market evidence, right? So when someone says, well, how's the market? I say, you know what? That's a great question. I'm tracking about 30 or 40 different data points throughout a bunch of markets. What's your question? Or what specifically do you want to know? Right? So that's infinitely more impressive than saying, well, it's a good market. I think it's going to be just fine. I think you should, are you going to list your house? Evidence. I don't rely on opinion. The market, when I do market research around your property and we take a look and see what's going on, here's the evidence. Here's the evidence. The reason why we want to establish this and this way of thinking right now is because when we start going into the next section, which is comps and how to weight them and how to utilize them within your presentation, it's going to be essential that your seller and the person listing their house, your home owner, understands that you don't just rely on your own personal understanding. What you rely on is market evidence in a methodical, logical way that lines up with common sense to make sure that you can stay in the system, stay in this process, and maximize the property. This isn't a casino. It's not about, hey, you're going to get lucky. Well, you're going to get that price. Well, let's throw these dice. You're a professional, and professionals render opinions based on professional evidence, And try to maybe not even use the word opinion. Say, well, the market's indicating. If we took a look at the evidence that's here in the market, here's what's happening. This last month, mortgage applications went up a little bit because interest rates came down, which means within the next 45 days from now, there's probably going to be more buyers in the market potentially looking at properties. And how do we know this? Because I track a simple statistic, and that is how many mortgage applications were submitted, and I look at that number every single month. Now, that's a national number, but it also bears itself out in this market here. Wow. If you're able to say something like that and not stumble through it, someone's going to have a heck of a lot more confidence in the fact that, yeah, it's not really a personality. It's not, I need to understand, I'm guessing. I use evidence to make business decisions, and I empower you as my seller to make these same great decisions based on evidence in the market. Remember, let go of the opinion. Everything is evidence-based, and you can demonstrate it. You can hand somebody a report. You can hand somebody a document. Don't rely on winging it and just making stuff up. You're going to have a problem. Give them evidence. Everything about your listing presentation is about you're pleading a case, right? So pretend like you're in a court of law. Anything that comes out of your mouth had better be documented, and it better be the truth, and it might better be measurable, okay? Let go of those professional biases. Everything is evidence-based.